Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Let me go ahead and move my mic slightly closer. Sorry for the noise if it's making a loud noise, but get it fixed up. So, your boy is back from his trip. Yes, I told you guys yesterday I was going to try to have a video. I told you I was going to have a video. My setup at the resort was nothing even close to what I expected. And the internet was slow, and it just was not going to work out. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take one day off from the video. This is going to be more of a hassle than it's going to be worth. So I ended up taking yesterday off. We are back. We have a big MLB slate, a big NBA slate, and I will say NBA or MLB starts in about 2 hours. So what that means is I have about 30 minutes to get through everything max. And I don't want it to take up the entire time, and then as soon as I post the video, baseball starts, because I want to get some baseball picks as well. So what I'm going to do is this video is going to be a little bit shorter than usual. I'm not going to go through every single game. I'll talk about some of the basketball games, some of the NBA games, some of the baseball games. We're going to do player props. I'm going to give you guys a 3-pick round robin for free on Prize Picks that I locked in already that you guys can tell if you'd like. And then I'm going to give you guys a nice little 2-pick over on Parlay Play for NBA. I mean, nice little double up that I like a lot, or a 2.4x. So if you guys are looking forward to that, make sure you guys do leave a like on the video, drop a comment. I am going to pick a winner from this video to win free VIP if this video gets 250 likes. So leave a like and a comment. You do have to be a subscriber to win the free VIP, so make sure you guys are subbed if you're not already. But let's pick our winner from the last video. Winner from the last video is going to be from Malcolm Brown, who said, let's get this money. Pick me for VIP. Well, I got you picked, Malcolm. Send me a message on Discord, man, and I'll get you added for that free month of VIP. Appreciate the love and support from every single one of you guys. And I do want to show some of our wins from yesterday, because I know before we left, I was coming off of a really bad day, and Sunday was horrible. Yesterday was green as can be, and Monday, I can't remember the exact script of Monday. I know it was a profitable day. We did pretty decent on Monday as well. It could have been better, but yesterday was awesome. We swept our round robin yesterday, so what I'm going to show you guys is, I'll pull it up in my Discord first, and I'll show you the round robin we ran. Well, anyways, it's going to take me forever to find it. Anyways, we ran a 3-pick round robin. It is what is it? Freed, Singa, and Brown. Yes, Freed, Singa, Brown. Here it is. 150 to win 975. So we cashed out on underdog. We usually run our round robins on either underdog or Prize Picks. That's usually when you're going to get the best, because a lot of the times I play fantasy score for these, and fantasy score for baseball is awesome. So we cashed that 150 for 975, which means we cashed this for 150 for 525. We cashed Scherzer, Webb, and Fat 150 for 333. We cashed this Brown, Freed again for the round robin, 150 for 525. And then we cashed Singa, Brown, and Fried again, a little 30% squad boost. It was 50 for 407. So yesterday was crazy good on MLB. We hit this over here on Chalkboard. It was Hunter Brown with Doncic. We put Freed with Ohtani. Pitcher wins. That's $100 to win 458. Freed with Ohtani. Pitcher outs for Freed with Ohtani to win. I doubled down on the win for Ohtani because I was very confident in him getting that dub. They did. 50 for 99. And then we had this nice 150 for 345 over on Prize Picks. We did hit 3 of our 4 money lines yesterday as well. So I'll show you guys this. Here's our 3 money lines, or 4 money lines I played yesterday. I played the Mets, the Astros, the Yankees, and the Giants, and these are all the slips that cashed from the round robin we ran. So ended up profiting about $200 profit on $50 slips, which is a pretty dang good profit, which if you consider that a $50 unit, that'd be 4 units profit on just our money lines. So very good day yesterday. Hopefully we can keep it up. If you guys do want to join our Discord, the Discord is free. Link is down in the description. If you want to get all the VIP plays, just click the WAP link down in the description as well. You can get 20% off right now with code MLB, $15 a week, $39.99 per month if you want to join. And we'd love to have you guys a part of the community. But hopefully we can keep this win streak going. I am going to start with NBA. We're going to get NBA done with, and then I'll talk about baseball. I'm going to, like I said, try to get through this really, really quickly. That way this video has some time to sit, because your boy got up at 4 this morning. I've been driving ever since. I just got home. I got home, threw all my stuff down, was like, I have to get this video done, and then sat down. So I'm ready for a nap. The game's starting in like 2 hours, so I got some more picks I need to get out before the game starts. So it's just been a very busy morning. So let's run through this. Let's run through our NBA props first. I have 2 NBA player props that I ran on a slip that I'm going to show you guys. So I ran it over here on Parlay Play. If you want to play it, I'll hit refresh here. You can see it is $250 to pay $582. So the first prop that I ran was our man Tyler Hero. I like Tyler Hero because he's been balling lately. He's been putting up over 20 shot attempts per game in his last couple games. They are playing against Boston tonight. This game's in Miami. Miami can play very good at home. when they're playing at home, I consider about any game to be competitive. Hero's points line is 22.5 right now for even odds. If you want to run it, I ran it for 19.5. So I put it on the slip. You can see he had 30-plus points in his last 2 games. That was versus the Pacers and versus the Sixers, coming off a dub versus the Sixers, which is a pretty big win. Playing against Boston, obviously Boston has one of the better points defenses in the league. Don't give up very many points per game on average, but our man Tyler Hero, 2 games in a row, has cashed this line. So he only has 1 game this season. He put up 22 points in 15 field goal attempts. Obviously shot very, very good that game. Last 10 games, he shot right at 16. So you can see, had a few games, he wasn't putting up very many shots. Lately, he's been putting them up, man, and I'm expecting something similar tonight. You look at the lineup, you got Norman Powell, Rozier, and Wiggins potentially out. So no Norman Powell here, out for Wednesday's game versus the Sixers. So, yeah. Wait. Wednesday's game versus the Sixers. Today is Wednesday, correct? Today is Wednesday, correct? Hold up. Yes, if I have my dates wrong, man. Yeah, Wednesday, April 1st. So they're not playing the Sixers today, which is definitely wrong on here. So keep his next chance to return will be Saturday against the Wizards. Okay, so as of right now, Norman Powell is out. You guys know how injury news is. That's why I'm looking at this, and it just didn't add up for me. It looks like either I'm stupid and my mind is just not working, where I'm low on sleep, or they got this mislabeled. But anyways, I do expect Norman Powell to be out here, I guess, right now. Wiggins is questionable. He may be out. Obviously, if both of them sit, that leads to a lot of opportunities for both Bam and Tyler Hero. Those are the guys that I look for when their team needs somebody to step up. So Hero right now has been putting up a lot of field goal opportunities. Like I said, 22 and 24 in his last few games. Three-pointers, over double-digit three-pointers. It's hard not to take him to give us 20 points. I like it in this spot, especially playing at home. Give me Tyler Hero for 20. And then who did I pair him with? I paired Tyler Hero with our man Pascal Siakam. I play Siakam's regular line at 34.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Let's go ahead and pull it up real quick. So Pascal, we're going to take him for PRA. His line is 35.5 on some platforms, 34.5 even odds right now on Parlay Play, which I really like. Now, if you look at Siakam, you might see this. He's cashed at about 50% of last 10 and last 20 games, so it's not a line that he's consistently going over. But they're missing everybody. You come and look at this lineup. Who do they have? McConnell's out, Nembhard out, Naismith is out, Siakam probable, Obi Toppin probable, Jarris Walker out, Zubac not playing, and they're playing versus the Bulls. So realistically, Siakam should have a baller game. I mean, he's putting up big minutes lately. It's not like he's been injured, I know he's been sitting a lot of games, but he's still getting over 30 minutes per game, especially if the game stays competitive. The Bulls are nothing special right now either, and they're missing a lot of players. No Zach Collins, no Asengu, no potentially Nick Richards is out. Anthony Simons is gone. Jalen Smith is out. Yabusele questionable. So missing a lot of players on the Chicago side of things as well. Obviously, this is a matchup where Chicago gives up more stats than about any other team in the league. One of the lowest or one of the best teams to take player props for, or against anyways. You look at it versus the power forward position, decent amount of rebounds and assists, a lot of points given up to the position. It's Siakam. Siakam's the all-star player for Indiana. Give it to him. I think he has a good game tonight. 35, I think, is definitely doable for Siakam in this matchup. So I did lock it in. You can see 2.5 or 250 to win, 582 if you guys do want to tell. So that being said, let's talk about these NBA games, and then I'm going to talk about a couple of games, and that's realistically going to be it, because every game on here is like a 13-plus point spread. So we're going to talk about the close games, and that's going to be it. Now, I pay attention to who wins. I'm not like, when it was just NBA left, like, you kind of had to break down every game if you're a sports bettor, because you're sitting there like, okay, a 20-point spread here, maybe we can milk some player props here, milk some player props there, trying to get as much value as we can from the slates, because it was the only sport going on. Now we have both baseball and we have NBA. NBA and MLB with large slates for both of them. You can see massive amount of games on both basketball and baseball. So right now we do not have to force picks from these like games that have potential blowouts, like the Sixers, Wizards, tanking teams. Like, there's no point in betting on them. That's my opinion. I guess there's going to be some games like this that can stay competitive, like Sixers versus the Wizards. Maybe the Wizards keep this competitive, and then the Sixers have some player props that are going to soar over because the Wizards have no defense. So it's a very high-scoring game. So, yeah, you can find matchups like that. But I prefer to just ignore some of these huge total games or huge spread games and just go with the ones that are close to even odds and just bet on those. That's the way I'm going to kind of be moving forward until we get to the playoffs. So first game on the slate I do want to talk about is going to be the Hawks versus the Magic. This game is going to take place in Orlando. Orlando are plus 154 underdogs. You have a 3.5 point spread and 232.5 total, so a very high scoring total here. Most of the money is going to be on the Hawks side of things. You look at these two teams. Magic have won 2 of their last 3. The Hawks have won 5 of their last 6. So the Hawks been looking very good, coming off of a strong win versus the Celtics, where I was on the Hawks side on that game. I thought they were going to win. I'm pretty sure I called it in the video for that day. But if you come over here and look at them, Atlanta fully healthy for the most part. Landale or Landale, however you say his name, is questionable. And then if you look at Orlando, Anthony Black, Jonathan Isaac, both doubtful, and then Franz Wagner questionable. So Wagner is a big piece to this Orlando team. And you can see, I can't pull Wagner up. I thought I could click him and pull him up here. But anyways, we can go here. We can see how many games Wagner has been out. Wagner has been out in every game. I mean, pretty much every game for a long time. He's been out pretty much all season. I don't even know why I clicked that. Your boy's running on fumes. But anyways, game could be competitive in terms of player props. I don't want to touch anybody from the Magic until I figure out what's going to happen with Wagner, because Wagner could take up a lot of usage from a lot of players. Now, he's definitely going to be limited, or he should be. Shouldn't play big minutes, but in a game that I would usually take like Suggs or Banchero or something like that, or even Bane for points, Wagner could take a lot of the shots. So Wagner could put up 20-plus points per game, and you give him 20 minutes, and he can still score 20 points. So that makes it hard for me to want to bet on the player prop side of Orlando. On the Atlanta side of things, it's still a tough matchup versus Orlando as well. Orlando's not a team you usually want to bet too many player props against, because they don't give up a ton of stats, which usually leads to lower lines, I will say. But still, tough matchup for Atlanta. I do lean Atlanta in this matchup. Neither team have the Magic are on a back-to-back here, which is why Orlando's favored so much. But I lean the Hawks to win. They've just been playing really, really good basketball. Hard to count them out when they just come off of a dub versus the Celtics, because the Celtics are a very strong team. And the Magic can realistically win. They keep it competitive in my opinion, but I am leaning the Hawks here slightly. Next game we have that I like is going to be the Celtics versus the Heat. This game in Miami. Miami plus 182 underdogs, 4.5 spread, 228.5 total. Another good game for props in my opinion. 76% of the money on Celtics money line, with 80% on the Celtics covering the spread. You take a look at these two teams as of lately. You can see the Heat have won 2 of their last 4. They've been on a pretty rough stretch lately. You look at the Celtics coming off of a loss versus Atlanta, but other than those couple of losses lately, they've been pretty dominant. When they're healthy, this team is unstoppable. They look pretty healthy right now, missing Vucevic tonight. Ron Harper, questionable. But other than that, they got Tatum, Brown, and Derek White. These 3 have been questionable a lot of the games, including Kata, a lot of the last few games. So you never know who you're going to get. But right now, it looks like you have a full lineup, which is going to be good for the Celtics. Celtics on the road versus the Heat. I'm leaning the Celtics, man. Minus 183, tough odds, very juiced line. Miami can pull up an upset at home. Miami with a 63% win rate at home, a very strong home team, but still, I lean the Celtics here. When you look at Miami, we already talked about it. Norman Powell's gone, no Rozier, obviously, and then Andrew Wiggins questionable. So that does lead to I think a strong win for the Celtics here. So give me Boston here. If you parlayed Boston with the Hawks, you could definitely get plus money there. I'm not recommending doing that. You can maybe touch the spreads here. I'll probably parlay them somehow. You could take like the Celtics with another strong favorite you like. Same thing for the Hawks. Run them with another strong favorite that you like. It is the NBA. Anything can happen, so don't get too comfortable. But you can do things for like that just to bring the juice down slightly, or you can give a few points away if you want. It's up to you, however you want to run it. I just like the Celtics to win, and I like the Hawks to win, both on the road. The next good game, and it's the last good game we have on the slate, in my opinion, in terms of money lines. It's going to be the Pacers versus the Bulls. So you got the Bulls at home, minus 176 favorites. Chicago, 4.5 point spread, 245.5 total. I've already talked about player props for this game. I think this game is electric for player props. If I had to pick one game on the slate, this would be the one. 245 point total, 2 teams that play at a fast pace and don't play much defense. When you look at the Bulls, 68% of the money on them, and then 61% on them covering that 4.5 point spread. Looking at these two teams, both teams tanking. The Bulls have lost 6 of their last 7. They've got killed. They did beat Houston in Chicago, which was a strong win for them. But you look at the Pacers, definitely a tanky team, a team that isn't playing for anything anymore, and realistically, I don't see them pushing too many starters. So that's why you see a lot of these guys out. But I do think Siakam has a big game. When you look at the Chicago side of things, I'm looking at Buzelis and Josh Giddey. Those are the 2 that I'm looking for there. Very, very good matchup. You could probably run any player from any team and potentially have a cash slip, just depending on just do your research, obviously. But I wouldn't argue against any player, to be honest with you. Indiana's a little bit tougher. Some of these guys I don't like to bet on, but Siakam, love betting on Siakam. He's usually a cash cow, and his lines are a little bit elevated, but I still think he has such a good matchup that his lines should be elevated, and I like the matchup here. So lock in that one. But in terms of picking a winner from this game, I'm leaning the Bulls at home just because the Pacers are missing so many players. But realistically, I can see the Pacers being live dogs. But I'm going to take the home team here. Give me Chicago for the win. Chicago, Celtics, and Hawks in those 3 games. And that's all I'm going to be touching for NBA, most likely, if I was picking the money lines. Now, let's get everything swapped over to baseball. I am going to give you guys a 3-pick round robin that I'm running for baseball. Now, I'm going to pull this up, and I'm going to show you how you play a round robin. And this is... Most of the round robins I'm giving for, especially the fantasy score, are VIP plays. It's not something I love to just give away on YouTube, mainly because fantasy scores bump very quickly. So there's a strong chance that some of these lines have moved by the time this video gets out. So it's usually easier just to give them to the Discord, and if you're in the Discord, you get them, and then just talk about plays that usually stay pretty consistently the same on YouTube because, yeah, fantasy scores do bump a lot. So we're going to talk about them. I'm going to pull them up. I just wanted to show you guys some of the plays that I like. So 3 plays that I like. I like Sanchez today. I like Kevin Gausman, and I like Garrett Crochet. And you look at these matchups. You got Sanchez pitching versus Washington, so versus the Nationals. Nationals have been pretty strong offensively lately, so yeah, this is a little scary, but it is Sanchez. Sanchez is a great pitcher. We have Kevin Gausman versus the Rockies. Rockies, one of the worst offenses in the league. Yes, they have had some big games. I don't know how many runs they scored the last game. It was a lot, but Rockies can be dangerous. Gausman's a great pitcher. Rockies also strike out a lot. And then we have Garrett Crochet. Garrett Crochet, one of my favorite pitchers, pitching for the Red Sox versus the Astros. This is another good game. This game should be competitive. I expect Crochet to have a great game as well. So let's pull up these teams. We'll pull up Sanchez first, and we'll talk about them in order. So if you want to go ahead and run that, you run a 3-pick, then you run Sanchez with Gausman, then you run a slip with Sanchez and Crochet, and then you run Gausman and Crochet, and it's going to give you, 4 slips total overall on a round robin from a 3-man round robin. So if you want to run those, you can. But if you just want to run a 3-pick, you can do it that way as well, or you can just pick the 2 that you like. But let's talk about our man Chris Sanchez. So Sanchez, the Phillies pitcher, he's already had 1 start this season, and we could take a look for him. So 39.5. His line is showing 41.5 right now on Prize Picks, which is tough. So some more sauce when you're playing fantasy score. Underdog and Prize Picks both score these the same. So if you're going to look at the lines, check them across both of those platforms because you may get better value on Underdog or on Prize Picks, vice versa. And we could check this on Parlay Play right now too because Parlay Play usually keeps it the same as Prize Picks, but they may not have bumped it, so you can always check that as well. So I'm just going to check Sanchez here. If it's 41.5, I'm just going to assume that Parlay Play has all 3 of these the same. But I've already locked them in anyway, so it's a little bit different. But let's pull up Chris Sanchez. It is, 40.5. So actually, Parlay Play has better value right now than Prize Picks if you want to play it there. But I like Sanchez. So what you're looking at for fantasy score is you're looking for pitchers with long leashes that can pitch deep into the game, and you're looking for them to get a lot of strikeouts because a strikeout in fantasy score, 1 strikeout equals 3 fantasy points. So when you look at them for this season, Chris Sanchez had 10 strikeouts. His first game versus the Texans. I almost call them the Texans. Versus the Texans. So versus the Rangers. You can look at Chris Sanchez last season. He averaged 9.45 strikeouts per 9 innings. You're looking for this to at least be 9. That's what you're looking for fantasy score most of the time because you want a pitcher to get at least 1 strikeout per inning. That's what you're looking for here. Sanchez is over a strikeout per inning pitcher. And he had 10 Ks his last game versus the Nationals as well. So looking at Washington, they strike out a lot. A 25% strikeout rate versus left-handed pitchers. So the matchup is spectacular for Chris Sanchez. Washington usually, they can have hot games. For the most times, Washington's not one of those teams I look at to just light up pitchers. So you can look at the matchup here for Chris Sanchez as well versus Washington. They don't hit very well off of him. You can see the strikeout rates for him, 33% strikeout rate, 50%, 50%. So they strike out quite a bit versus Sanchez as well. So matchup is perfect. As long as Sanchez performs the way we hope he does, we're good. But I do like Chris Sanchez fantasy score. You can see I locked it in at 39.5. I personally would not touch 41.5. I think 40.5 is okay to take. 41.5, a 2-point bump, I'm just not touching them. So if you're ever looking at these and they go up by more than a point, don't touch them. Just don't. But Chris Sanchez fantasy score, it could come back down. Some people may run the under on 41.5, so you can always pay attention to this line. But 39.5 pitcher fantasy is what I ran. And then you guys can go and talk about Kevin Gausman. So Kevin Gausman is the second play of the day. We have our man Gausman over 40.5 fantasy score. So let's pull Gausman up real quick. And let me know if you like fantasy score. I know on books like DraftKings and stuff, I don't think you can run fantasy, But if you're playing player prop apps, most of them are going to have fantasy points and some type of scoring. But the way that it works is, I think Sleeper is one of the apps that has a completely different scoring system. So if it's like 20 on Sleeper, there's a reason it's way lower on Sleeper. So I can't remember exactly how Sleeper scores it. I've been going mainly off PrizePicks and Underdog for these. But anyways, Kevin Gausman. So took him over 40.5 fantasy. It showed 40.5 somewhere and then said 41.5. But anyway, 40.5 fantasy. 40.5 is what we got it at right here. It's either 40.5 or 41.5 right now on PrizePicks. We'll check it here as well. Let's see. Kevin Gausman, and it is 40.5 here as well. So you can get the regular line still on Parlay Play if you want to run fantasy there as well. And I'm going to be, you know what I'm going to do? Just for the video, just because I want to make, I don't know, I won't put my money where my mouth is. I want you guys to see me locking a slip. I'll play the fantasy. I'll put another 250 on just the fantasy here. Just for fun. Just for fun in case the cash is, because I actually really like these. So let's talk about Kevin Gausman. So it's a matchup versus the Rockies. I've already told you guys the Rockies are a team that, I mean, he had 52 fantasy his last game. It was 20-1 last season. Insanely high total there. You look at Gausman, he averages 8.81 strikeouts per 9 innings, which is very close to that 9 that we're looking for. 8.81 with Gausman in this matchup is great. You look at it versus the Rockies, he had 10.29 Ks in his 9 innings. So very, very good, decent pitcher anyway. 3.59 ERA, 105 WHIP, very controlled, doesn't give up a lot of runs, going against one of the worst offenses in the league. You can see the Rockies right here. They have a 236 batting average and a 292 on-base percentage, which is one of the worst in the league. They don't usually light up pitchers. You can look at Gausman versus this Rockies offense, and you can see they've honestly hit pretty dang good off Kevin Gausman. I will say, Goodman right here has 1 at-bat. He had a 3 OPS. Not a lot of data to go off of. You can look at Tovar with 9 at-bats and then a 1 OPS. So done pretty well off of him, but still, it's the Rockies. I don't expect them to light up our man Kevin Gausman. Now, when you click Ks here, you can look, he had 8 Ks his last game versus the Rockies. The Rockies strike out 26.4% of the time, which is the second most in the league. So very, very high strikeout team. Very, very good matchup. Gausman should go at least 6 innings, in my opinion. And you can look at his leash from his last game. He pitched 83 pitches, so we're looking at 90-plus pitches today. Last season, he averaged 93 pitches, so I'm looking at 95 to 100 pitches. I say 93 to 100 pitches, depending on how well he's pitching. If he gets shelled or something, they're obviously going to pull him way before that. But I don't think he's going to get shelled. So give me Kevin Gausman fantasy. We locked it in. And then with our last fantasy that we ran was a Garrett Crochet, which I love Crochet today in this matchup as well versus the Astros. So let's pull up Garrett Crochet. This is going to be his second start of the season as well. He went 6 full innings with 80 pitches his first game, and that was versus the Reds. Crochet is one of the highest strikeout pitchers in the league, by the way. He strikes out 11 batters per 9 innings, which is insanely good. A 2.59 ERA, a 103 WHIP. Versus the Astros, still a very, very high strikeout pitcher. Now, I will say he gave up a lot of runs that game versus the Astros, but I'm not expecting him to do the same thing today. When you look at the Astros, they do have a strong batting average. Their offense is actually pretty good. And when you look at their last 30, one of the top 5 offenses in the league in their last 30 games. Last season, still a top 10 offense. So you do have a decent hitting team here versus Crochet. But Crochet is an elite pitcher. Like, I don't expect him to get shelled. And we can go ahead and look at him versus this Houston offense. You can see they hit pretty dang good off Crochet. But there's also not a whole lot of data to go off of either. You can see that last game versus we saw 11 ERA, which is means he got lit up. This OPS does scare me. Here's the thing about when you take some of these ace pitchers, some of these elite pitchers. Sometimes you got to take this with a grain of salt if there's not a lot of data. So you can see some of these guys with 1 and 2 at-bats, got a couple hits off of them, hit some runners in or whatever, or batted somebody in, and their OPS shows way, way higher. But you got 1 to 3 at-bats. When you see these guys if you see 7 and 8 like this, like Pena and Altuve, that scares you a little bit when it's a 1 OPS with 7 or 8 at-bats. But realistically, I don't expect these numbers against Crochet consistently. Like, they might have had a good day. Maybe Crochet just had an off day, and that's really where these numbers come in the hand at. So, against Garrett Crochet, I'm willing to take a chance here. If he sells me, he sells me. I'm taking his fantasy score over 38.5. Let's pull Crochet up over here on Parlay Play. You know, if you can spell somebody's name right, it might come up for you. But anyways, Crochet is 39.5. I'm going to play this bump. Why is this a 3X? It didn't even change the payout. All right, I'm going to put 250 on here, and I'm going to cancel it if it doesn't change. It should not be a 3X. If it's a 3X, do not play these on parlay play. So it looks like Sanchez got pulled. I see. I'll just run Gosman and Crochet right now. I'll put 250 on it to win 792 just for the video. Kevin Gosman's pulled. Okay, never mind. We can't run it. They're just going to pull them. That's what I get for hovering the plays. I've talked about this several times. When I hover a play, it gets pulled. There you go. There, now you see it firsthand. Can't bet anything on parlay play if I'm trying to hover it. Anyways, I ran it on Prize Picks. If you want to go play it on Prize Picks, go for it. If you can get... Don't take more than a point bump on any day. If you take all three of them, don't take all three of them with a point bump because that ends up being 3 fantasy score total that you're taking on a bump together. I just wouldn't do it. But that's what I got for today's video, guys. I have Moneylines and VIP. I'm 25 minutes into this video already. I'm not going to go over the games today just because I'm getting so late into this and there's 50 games, so it's very difficult to get all this done super fast. So expect a regular routine tomorrow and going forward. I'm back from my little 2-day vacation that me and my wife had at the beach, so we're good. I'll have a video for MLB tonight. It'll be early for tomorrow's video, so keep an eye out for that. Hopefully we have another good day. Join the Discord if you haven't already, and that's what I've got. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Sorry for just the sloppiness of it. I know it was a little bit different than usual, and we'll be back to normal tomorrow. So hope you guys have a great day once again, and I'll see y'all in tomorrow's video.